All right, and welcome to Conversations with Carla. I am Carla Shawn, and I have the honor and privilege to be sitting here, and I'm going to have an amazing conversation with the Mr. Bryce Prescott. Welcome, Bryce.
Well, thanks for having me, Carla. I'm really looking forward to this. This is new and exciting on many levels, so thank you for the invite.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So for those of you who may not know, Bryce has an amazing podcast called Rules of Success, and you could find him on iTunes. Let's see, do you mind typing into the chat just the Rules of Success, Bryce, or where?
Sure, yeah. It's rulesofsuccess.com basically has all the links to find me on iTunes, or you can direct stream the podcast there. There's a blog there as well, and all of our social media and everything's there.
That's amazing. And you also have a book.
Yes, kind of. I took one of my favorite books of all time is the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And for those of you that may not be aware of that book, it was actually a precursor to the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill has actually gone on record and credited Wallace D. Wattles and The Science of Getting Rich as a lot of the information and inspiration, if you will, for his book. And so it's one of the very first books that focuses on this wonderful idea that your thoughts matter, that thoughts are things, and that there is a creative power that comes from what you focus on in your mind. What I did is the book was written in 1910, and I'll be honest, it's freaking old. It reads like a book that was written in 1910. And so it's some of the examples that are really important in that book to help you to bridge the gap for what he's trying to tell you are very difficult to understand because, I mean, who knows a lot about the railroad trust and how to decide what to do? So anyway, so what I've done is I've gone through and I've added commentary. I haven't changed any of the original book, but I've added commentary throughout every single chapter that modernizes the message. And I give that book away for free, actually, at my website, rulesofsuccess.com. And I've gotten some really, not to pat myself on the back or break my arm doing so, but I've got some really good feedback that the additional examples and commentary have really bridged the gap and make it be, extremely relevant for all the great principles that are there.
That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I wish I could say that I've already read it, but I haven't, and so I can't.
Okay.
So let's tell them a little bit more about you, like your journey, and then let's get right into it. Let's talk about some of the tips and insights that you want to share, because I know you have, there's a wealth of wisdom inside of there that's ready to to come out.
Well, thanks, Carla. The short version, I guess, which might not end up being that short, is I've been a serial entrepreneur my entire life. Even from the time that I was a young kid, I was always in some form or fashion trying to figure out a way to make money, or if anything, just to find a way to get what I wanted, whatever it was, and understanding how to leverage relationships and leverage things and put myself in a position where I could excel that way. And I started. I've skied for most of my entire life, and even when I was up at the hill doing that for a big portion of my childhood and into my 20s, I always found myself in interesting positions where I was able to kind of finagle deals and work things. Well, it came to a cumulative head back in 2008. I was in the mortgage business. I'd been a mortgage broker for about 5 years at that point, and I had a friend of mine come to me telling me about this great real estate opportunity that would allow us to buy very, very discounted real estate directly from banks and servicers. And then we could do some small rehab, and we had a component where we could do seller finance mortgages, and we could put them back out into the market, and we would help renovate neighborhoods while getting a great deal on these homes. And honestly, I didn't believe him, to be honest with you. I thought there's no way. I was in the mortgage business, so I was traditional finance and working that angle in the business. And so what he was telling me sounded like a unicorn, propped up on a rainbow. It was impossible. There's no way you can buy a house for 5 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward a couple months, and I find myself in Anaheim, California, and I'm sitting at an event that's put on by Peak Potentials, which is the seminar company behind the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Yeah. And these guys get up on stage, and they're talking about this very familiar format that I had heard about, where you can buy these homes and you can do it cheap and you can do these things. And I was in a room of about 2,000 to 3,000 people. And people were tripping over themselves to invest with these guys and to be a part of this, thing. I immediately left the seminar, went out. I was standing on a corner in where the Hilton Hotel was, about 6 blocks from Disneyland. And I'm on the phone with my buddy, and I'm saying, first of all, I'm sorry I didn't believe you. Second of all, these guys, there's so many holes in what they're doing. We could do it 10 times better. As soon as I got back to Salt Lake City, Utah, which is where I'm from, we incorporated, and 5 months later, we closed our first deal.
Wow.
Now, how the science of getting rich falls into all this is that it was during this time that, the book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, was a big part of it. And then shortly after that, I was introduced to this book, The Science of Getting Rich. And I was so fresh and open to looking at things differently that I started applying those principles of the book, The Science of Getting Rich, in my new business that I had just started, my real estate business. And Halloween of 2008, we closed our first deal. I made $250,000 between that and the end of the year.
Wow.
And the next 3 years were even better of a roller coaster with influence and all sorts of great things that happened. But the irony is that our real estate business crashed, and there's a couple of reasons why, but the underlying reason is that I truly stopped applying the principles of that book. And in hindsight, I recognize to the month when things started to change and how it just evolved into this. I wasn't doing the things necessary to envision and be clear about what I wanted, and then wasn't doing the work as well to keep it going. So that wrapped itself up in about 2012. Tried a stint in agricultural commodities for a little bit, and that has kind of burned out a little bit. There's still some feelers there. I speak fluent Portuguese. I lived in Brazil for a couple of years when I was younger, and had just have a love for that country and those people. And so it's been a nice excuse to go back there every now and then to try to do that. But the last year has been almost exclusively focused on my podcast, Rules of Success, and helping individuals understand that they can have a great life by simply looking at their life scientifically through the lens of 4 key areas. And those areas are your health and fitness, your personal relationships, your being, which is your connection to God or universe or whatever you want to call this wonderful thing that we're a part of that's bigger than us all. And then 4th is, of course, you can't do any of those things if you're broke. So you got to have some sort of business acumen. So we talk about that as well.
Great. So I put in the chat. So health and fitness, relationships, being, and then I just put money.
Yeah, business. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cash money, yo.
Well, that's one of the things. Like, so I'm an intuitive healer. I have been since I basically came out of the chute, and it's been
like that description.
but it's been challenging for me, just because I experience the world a little bit differently than a lot of people. I think now in this consciousness, a lot of people are feeling that, but for most of my life, like I've never been money motivated, and it's like what my old mantra was, like, it's hard being human. Like this whole money thing that's like, I didn't understand, like, money was just energy back then.
Yeah.
And so, as humans, we do actually need money, if we're going to have, a fun, free life, so
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm also curious, the people who are watching us right now, there's 6 of you that are able to chat with us. Let us know, if you have your own business or just what's going on in your life. And then, like I said at the beginning, we would love to pull one of you into what I like to call the love seat. And you could ask Bryce and myself any sort of questions and maybe help guide you, or just want to pick his brain anymore. But before we do that, let's break down these areas. So whatever one that you want to talk about, what one had the most impact on your life?
Well, all of those 4 key areas are equal in their importance. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't rate one in priority, one above the other. But ironically, it seems to me that the being one, when that one is understood first, the other ones seem to fall in line easier. Yeah. And that's just my personal experience. And what I mean by that is that, I loved how you said that, you'd struggled with, the humanity aspect of, it's hard being human and the needing money and things like that. There's this relationship that exists between us all, and that really is energy that makes it difficult to kind of navigate if we don't have a good bearing on who we really are and our place and how we fit into all this. And so, to go in a little bit deeper into, my story, when 2012 happened, a lot of things crashed in my life, including my health went to crap. I ended up having surgery, had to remove some tumors that were not good. And it just caused this kind of, it was the first time in my life where I felt like my life had a clock on it, that wow. It was literally, winding down. I just didn't know when it was going to stop. And this experience with, surgery and cancer and different things just really kind of forced that into my awareness. Yeah. And what happened was I realized that, I had grown up in a religious home, and there'd been a big part of even my adult life where that was a part of it. But yet there was a disconnect between religion and spirituality for me that I couldn't reconcile. And so it kind of forced the issue for me to where I'm not religious at all anymore, but I'm more heightened in my spirituality in a sense that I want for everybody this feeling to understand in the stillness of meditation in their own mind how wonderful they are. And then from there, look to give that contribution back to the world as a gift. And then as you do that and you do it focused and scientifically, all of those areas will fill up. You'll have money, you'll have health, you'll have relationships that are satisfying and authentic, and you'll be in touch with yourself. It's great.
Absolutely. It always comes back to the self. And that's, as a coach, that is what I help people with. And I actually I was coaching people with health and wellness, and that wasn't fun for me. So I switched it was fun, but I like doing business coaching way more because I get to use my creativity. And so I find that absolutely to be true. So for those who are watching this live or on the replay, what are some, well, first, you keep saying scientifically. So I want to ask about that. So when you apply these scientifically, what do you mean?
Well, what I mean is that it legitimately is a formula that when you address the variables as they are, the true variables, not ones that we make up or things that don't really have any value, but the true variables. And those variables in each one of those pillars are staring you in the face. So let's look at the variable of health and fitness.
Great.
It's an absolute truth that your body can either help or hinder the connection that you have with yourself, with your friends, your family, and your ability to make money. So by looking at your body as an asset and treating it as an asset, having it be, dare I even say, weaponized to where you have not for the sake of hurting, but you've got this precise athletic tool that is your body. It allows you emotionally and psychologically to have bandwidth to spare in the other areas of your life. And so by scientifically addressing my body and saying, okay, I need to have a body that performs like this. I need to treat it like this. I need to feed it like this. I need to have this be what it is. I'm then taking the variables out of the equation that could make that be an issue. I just break it down to its simplest form. So then as my body's in check and everything's good there and I'm connected to my body, I'm listening to my body, the same thing happens in my relationships. The same sort of equation where I look at those relationships and I remove the fluff. I become authentic and transparent. I have the hard conversations. I'm honest with my dealings, like all those things. Next thing you know, I've got these very precise relationships that produce immediate results and which is immediate feedback, which allows for continued growth. Transition that over to being the same thing. Your money, scientific. It's funny how so many people are willing to, learn how to invest their money or learn about different strategies and learn different things. And it seems okay to have there be a scientific approach there. But when you look at, scientifically approaching the other areas, it's new. It's almost awkward because they haven't had the communication about that be so simple that, so wait, you're telling me that if I keep myself in shape, I'm going to have a better relationship with my spouse? Yes, that is actually true because you're not going to be burdened by certain things that happen when you're out of shape. So that's what I mean by scientifically. We often, I do some consulting and coaching as well. I actually have a program called Apply the Science where I take these tenets we're talking about and help people to formulate game plans that allow for what goes on your head to finally be coupled with inspired action in the community of accountability and others that are doing the same. And so I've found that it's not easy, but it's not complicated.
Yes.
And I guess I can't say it any more complex than that.
And on that note, I wanted to just do another plug for you. Please follow him on Facebook because, we all see in our feeds posters with phrases and inspirational quotes and stuff. And I would say like the ones that Bryce chooses to post, at least for me, always grab me or like pull that heart trigger or inspire me in ways that the other ones don't. And so bravo.
Wow, that's such a nice thing to say. Thank you, Carla.
Yeah. Well, they're great.
Thank you.
So what I heard you say basically is it's almost from like like doing this from like the masculine point of view versus the feminine, where and it's not male female, but
of course, yeah,
because we have both. But it's looking at things not from the emotional place, like, okay, what do I need to do to get here? And then what I hear is you don't negate those emotions. Like then you do what it takes to get there. Then you feel the pain. Then you have those hard conversations. Then you work at it from the emotional place, but you like map it out from this place of clarity without allowing the emotion to muck it up. Is that basically?
Yes, but I'd like to add something that I think you're touching upon, but I want to highlight it. And that is the emotional part of the mapping is actually very important, because when it comes to having a target, the targets off, like in any of those four areas, whether it be money or your body, your being, your relationships, oftentimes people have targets that are superficial targets and they don't understand why it is unfulfilling to reach them. Sure. And so by peeling all of that back and having your targets and your scientific approach be because of your emotions, it really empowers the commitment. Because as you're aware of, Carla, I'm sure you've taught this to people, that the way you get people to make and keep commitments is by an emotional charge, a surge that allows them to feel, even for a brief moment, what it's like to meet that and to complete that. And then they use that as a guide. And so, to scientifically pull it out, there's tasks associated with it. You've got to exercise, you've got to invest properly, you've got to meditate on a regular basis. All those things, those are task-oriented things. But the why behind them is the emotion. Well, why do I need to do that? I want to feel more connected to my body in a way to which I live a vibrant life just corporally, that I feel better. That's the why. So having that be the trigger and that be the target, it makes it so much more easy, really, to keep your commitments to yourself, because it's now no longer about this checklist that you're trying to complete just because you told yourself you would. There's constant motivation and feedback through your emotions.
Absolutely. Our bodies don't lie. Yeah. Migraines, headaches, cancer, to me, all of those are just a symptom. High cholesterol, like none of that is wrong or bad. It's just a symptom of something deeper that needs to be addressed.
Well, the funny thing is the word shoves, it's right in your face when you look at the word disease. Dis-ease. Yeah. We just overlook that. Like, well, I'm not at ease. I have a disease. Well, yeah, you're not at ease. No. I have a disease. Yeah, it's right in your face when you're willing to see it that way.
Absolutely. So I know when we had a brief talk before, prior to this, we were talking about, like the original law of attraction, right? Sure. Which is what this is, and what I hear you saying about tapping into the emotion. And then you also brought up like the unsung hero.
Yes.
And do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because when we spoke about it before, it felt really powerful.
Sure. One of the reasons why I love the book, The Science of Getting Rich, so much is because it marriages these two things that are important when it comes to the law of attraction. I don't know. I'm sure you might remember this back in, I think it was 2006 when The Secret came out. Rhonda Byrne was all over the place. She was on Oprah. She was being interviewed by, normal media, and this law of attraction thing was front and center in normal culture. And then all of a sudden, the movie came out, and there was all of this speak about what it is and how to engage the law of attraction. And they missed out on the key part of it.
Yes.
And the key part of the law of attraction is that you actually have to be in motion for it to work. So in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, he talks about, having a clear thought in your mind about what you want, your desires, and then through established lines that are already there, involving yourself so that you can be in a position to attract and to experience those things that are a part of your clear picture. And without that motion, without being in motion, the law of attraction won't work. So you're stagnant. There's no energetic movement.
Yeah. Can we unpack that a little bit? Sure. So are you familiar by any chance with human design?
No.
And that's okay for
now. Well, I don't know. I don't know yet.
Yeah. So it's just another way, tool of learning about yourself. And they take in the I Ching, the Kabbalah, Western astrology, and your chakras. And then you have different categories. So manifestor, generator, manifesting generator, projector. So you have these labels, right? And they talk about, so one group, the generators aren't supposed to go and get things done. They wait and then they respond. And we just check in with our belly to or like it's purely primal. But manifestors need to get out there and make things happen, right? And so there's these certain rules of how we each come in with certain energies to react or respond to the world really makes a difference. And so one of the things that I, as I'm working with clients and myself is like, what works for one person doesn't work for the other. So when you say motion, could that be, giving a talk or knocking on doors or journaling? Like, what does motion, what does that mean exactly?
Well, I'm glad you brought up those different examples because it is individual. The formula is real and there's an actual science to it, but it's not wide open and black and white as that. I'll give an example. So yesterday on my podcast, Rules of Success, I interviewed this film and television actress whose name is Rennie Grames, and she's done some Hollywood movies, but she's also been a big force in kind of on the other side of the camera with scripts and producing and everything. And she was sharing this experience where she had really drilled in and wanted to manifest a movie role in her career, but it was late October. And if anybody that's familiar with Hollywood, they know that it's really difficult to get a role and to film a role in late October before the end of the year, but she still had this goal. So she spent this time in her meditations really being clear about not the specifics of what she wanted, but the emotions of what she wanted. And when she was able to do that, then she had this guy call her up that was an old client, not client, but an old producer that she had worked with before. And he says, look, this might be kind of arduous for you to do, but I need you to come here. I need you to do this. And I need you to be this way. And if you can do all those things, you've got the movie. Well, it was pretty challenging for her to do that, but she knew that had been served up as a part of what she wanted. Now she had to act. So specific to her experience, she was in motion by being willing to do what was necessary to take it. So, that's thrown around as, doing the work or taking the opportunities in the right time action is a key part of it. Massive action is a part of it. So when I say be in motion, I mean, understand that sometimes things just pop out of nowhere that you can't explain, but you've got to be willing to move with them. And the easiest way to make those things pop out of nowhere that you can't explain is to already be roping that in through your own efforts through established lines. So as an actress, she knew that she needed to keep herself doing this. She needed to be doing this. And she did it. And it ended up manifesting the way she thought, which was she ended up filming for 2 weeks in December, which she said in Hollywood doesn't ever happen. But
absolutely. And so that brings up another and something that came to my awareness today. So what my ex is an actor and singer. And one of the things that she would do would book like gigs even do open mics, but doing that would force her to stay in practice.
Yes.
And so what I hear, that motion may not necessarily be like trying to get a deal or trying to, land a gig, but it could be just practicing your skills could be a form of the motion and tapping into that vibration.
Yes. If it's okay, I'll share a personal experience
Please.
About kind of the process of my own podcast. I started it about a year ago. It was a year ago this month that we started producing episodes, and we launched on Black Friday after Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving. We launched with 4 episodes.
Awesome.
And it was unpolished. It was garbage for most. I mean, we had some good stuff in there, and I'm highly critical of it looking back. But
sure.
But I was committed to a certain way to do things. even though I didn't know what the end outcome was going to be, because for me, it was a chance to emotionally live out that bigger picture. And that was to be a part of something where I was constantly creating content, where even if it was a smaller audience at the beginning, that I was able to make a difference, and it allowed me a pulpit to share some of the things that hopefully could make an impact on those that were listening. Well, fast forward a year, I've had more success in that podcast than I could have ever dreamed of. And I equate it to not only that I have a mental picture about it, but I got to produce a lot of content every week. I mean, a full-length 60-minute episode every Friday, a 5 to 10-minute one on Mondays, and then a 5 to 10-minute video on Wednesdays.
Wow.
Regardless of if I get a single download or not. And ironically, that kind of happens sometimes. When I first, right now, I've only been doing, as an example, I've only been doing these video sidecars that I call them for about a month and a half. And I mean, I have 7 subscribers. I mean, 7, like not 6 or 8, but 7, you know? And so it's like, it's become this labor of love. It's like, nobody's watching these, but I don't care. There's going to come a point where there will be it's kind of like that old farce about overnight success. There's going to come a point where somebody's going to find this library that's going to have dozens upon dozens of videos, content that are relevant to it. And it's going to spike and it'll be great. And I'm okay with that. Like I don't need it to be anything other than that. But it's doing those things on a daily and weekly basis that ultimately put me in a position to accept opportunities like this, where we're tapping and connecting on a really great level specific to these energies. I love it. Absolutely.
And in terms of like Gary Vaynerchuk, right? It's like, this is the give, like the give. Yeah. We give content. And I also hear that you're in your flow, like you are in your brilliance when you're doing that.
Yeah.
And so if it felt like a big struggle, there's no way that you would continue to do that.
Yeah.
I think
that's very well put. I love how you put that.
And I think that's another aspect that we get hung up on, I think a lot of people who get coaching or follow, the gurus, like they say to do it this way, but it doesn't work for them. Right. And like you said, everything is so individualized.
Yeah.
So we could have a formula, but we have to do the inner work to figure out what does that formula mean for us specifically.
Sure.
What's that? We just have a question. That's what my name means. What does your name mean? I don't know what that's. I would like to know what your name means. Brilliance, maybe? I don't know. Where were we? Your story. Where do you want to go from here? What do you want to talk about next?
I guess just to kind of drive home further, this I'm feeling very passionate about my book and about some of the things in there, and even the program that's available to help people to bridge it. In my own coaching and consulting clients that I have, I've been finding this interesting pattern that's happening. That we start out working a foundation, which is something very simple as, before 9 a.m. you've meditated, written in your journal, and exercised. And then because that foundation is being laid and set, even though it's uncomfortable and I get all sorts of excuses that I'm not a morning person and all this stuff, like, okay, cool. Keep your same results if that's what you want. Like, keep doing the same thing, you'll get the same results. So anyway, but watching then from there, effectively at 9 a.m., you're ready for the day. And then how you handle the day from there brings in all sorts of opportunities. I have one of my clients right now that he's a young guy, he's a hustler, and he's just killing it doing this. And we've been working together now for only a month. And already in that time, he's already been just blowing past the targets that we'd set. And it's been because you're able to address those 4 key areas in a way that empower expansion. That's, I think, one of the biggest things about the message of the Science of Getting Rich, something that I'm very passionate about on my podcast, is let's as a community do what we can both individually and collectively to empower expansion, to assist others to grow by growing ourselves and putting ourselves in a position for wealth and its entire definition, all areas.
Absolutely. And I think like what you just said about the morning routine or ritual or whatever is key. Like, you hear about doing these things in the morning and they kind of, Tony Robbins is, at least one of the first people that I learned from, doing the hour of power and mantras and getting yourself up. and I've done meditation, but it is literally life-changing when you put yourself first, especially when you don't want to.
Yeah.
And when we talk about self-discipline, what I find for me, like, it's like I could resist temptation. Like, saying no to things is actually super easy for me, whether it be food or whatever. But saying yes to something that I don't really want to do is like the hardest thing for me. So like being consistent with the morning ritual is like so hard. I actually don't like to say hard. I like to say challenging, because then it's possible. Sure. And I know I'm not alone in that, right? So how do you coach your people? What do you say to them? When you wake up and you feel ooky or like you just don't want to do it, like, how do you, inspire yourself to do it?
Well, excuse me. What happens when you go live, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Here's another unsung hero about the morning routine. If you don't feel like you're getting enough sleep, and it's challenging to wake up, and you're having an issue in that morning time, I know this is revolutionary idea. Get ready, people. You can actually go to bed earlier. It can make it so you have more time. So every one of the clients I've ever been a part of and coached, and even friends and associates, as we have worked together and I've seen this, it boils down to an unwillingness to adjust. And then when you look at kind of the habits that we have, and then we're saying, okay, I want more of the result that will come by rising early and exercising and doing that, but I don't want to have to adjust anything else. So I'm just going to get up earlier. And then it hurts, because now you're adding more focus, which takes energy, into a routine that is stressed as it is, and it sets it up for failure. So for me, the reason why you've got to get your sleep, you've got to get your meditation in, is because those legitimately recharge you in a way that you can't get anywhere else. About a year or so ago, I started working out at a performance gym here that's put on by a former NFL athlete. And I just turned 40 in the month of July this last summer. And at 40, I thought to get in shape and everything, not that I've been doing this for more than that, but the thought was, for my age bracket, I'll say, that I needed to be doing more cardio. And I saw guys doing a lot of running and different things. And my guy was like, no, dude, you got to lift heavy stuff.
Yes.
So I had to get in this habit. My body had been atrophied for years of not doing that, of, bench press and deadlift and squats and things like that. And as I did that, though, the reason why I was able to succeed through that time when it was just killing my body, and I was sore from my cuticles all the way to every follicle, everything was sore. But there was a community there that supported that when I didn't complete it, I affected the whole. And so when it comes to these other things, accountability and having there be communities there and support and technology can help with this to keep everybody connected. When you're looking to make adjustments to habits that are already ingrained, and you're doing things that are outside your comfort zone, those things are key. They are absolutely key to have support and assistance and accountability partners to help you to get better than yourself. Absolutely. People don't want to hear that though, because it's challenging and it's new and it's an adjustment. So. Yeah,
and as humans, we tend not to like to feel discomfort.
Yeah. We're creatures of comfort. Actually, we want to do what's easy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a blessing and a curse, but so great. So I hear, again, look at it from a scientific thing. Like, why aren't you getting up and doing it? Do you need to go to bed earlier? Would that be helpful? Would remembering why you're doing it, would that be helpful? Like, sort of look at the why you're not doing it is sort of what I hear in what you said.
Yeah, the scientific formula, the equation behind that is basically which pain is stronger, the pain of not doing it or the pain of change. And so when you can tap into the why of what the change means, and you can even manufacture that emotion for a moment as a motivator.
Yep.
Through meditation and through thought and just allowing yourself to kind of settle into what that would feel like to succeed in this, whatever it is, it makes the pain of change less than the pain of staying the same.
The image that I just had, so I was an athlete all through school, volleyball, basketball, softball, track, went to all the guys, football games. And what I hear you saying reminds me of the coaches, and like getting us all hyped up to go for the game. And it's like when the community is together, when we have this end result that we want, getting hit or, putting our body to a test, that wasn't even our consciousness. What was in our consciousness was the result. So it's basically taking that same concept and doing that with us in our daily life.
Yeah. I went to this event one time, and there was this process that the guy kind of walked us through, and I can't remember the exact specifics of it. It was many, many years ago, but the essence of what it was is we had to envision and quantify this result that we wanted to experience. And we need to be detailed about it. And we need to so it was a combination of the details and the emotions, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So ironically, I kid you not with this story, this was 3 weeks before I closed that first deal at the end of 2008, when I made all that money in my real estate company. Okay. So I had this number that was the exact number that I ended up making on that first deal. And they said, envision it as this ball of reality. And like inside of this sphere is that world, right? And you kind of like bring yourself and your consciousness to where you're in this space and you're looking at the details of it and you're seeing exactly what it is. And you notice lint on the floor, dust on the desk. I mean, you notice the details of that situation. And then you kind of pull yourself back out of that reality and you've got this ball here. And then you envision this ball, in the future, a month, or you envision it in the past. So like that moment was a moment in the future, and then you're peeling back. So what was it like? What will that like be 2 months from now, 1 month from now? And then so where I'm at right now. And it keeps this emotional, energetic track that's very, very powerful. And it's all based, the essence of that experience that I took from it was that I lived in the result. Yes. I lived in the execution of getting that goal, and I knew the details of it. And so it was almost like I was rewinding the movie. I already knew how it ended. And the confidence of that allowed each step to have a different power and a different confidence and a different certainty. And, in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, they talk about doing things in a certain way, like the phrases all throughout there. And certain can have very many different definitions. It can be resolute. It can be a specific. It can be, powerful. Like there's all these things. And when you apply those definitions to that in the confidence of your actions, knowing you're going to have the certainty of your goal, it removes doubt and even the possibility of failure.
Yeah. The doubt is the biggest killer, I think, to all of that. Like you could feel it, you can visualize it, you could have the best plan, but if there's doubt inside of you, I don't think things are possible when you have doubt. Yeah.
Doubt isn't real, though. That's the fun part of this. I mean, we have so much power over that. I shared this experience on an interview I did earlier today, where I was in this event one time where they said, I want you to do something very simple. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to in your mind tell yourself your name. So I am Bryce Prescott. So I close my eyes. I am Bryce Prescott, and then, to use your word, I love this phrase, unpack it. So once unpacking that, what it did is it established a couple of things. It established that I control that voice, and I can manipulate it. I can have it say whatever I want to say. And when it says things I don't like, it's because I've given it too much power. It's like an unruly toddler that hasn't been given the right support. It's just running rampant, telling me all the junk that's not real, and I buy into it because I've empowered it, and it keeps me safe, quote unquote. And so by being willing to recognize that relationship, that voice in your head is not you, it's a mechanism of your psyche, and that you can manipulate and control it through deliberate intention and change, it really can change the conversation that goes on inside your head to be more supportive and to start looking at the universe as a friendly, supportive place, as opposed to this one that doesn't want you around and that you suck.
Absolutely. And that reminds me, the way that I see the world is, when I was a massage therapist and I was doing corporate chair massage, and man, corporate America, that's all I have to say. But as soon as my hands, like these 20-year-olds who their body was as hard as a table, right, from stress. And but what I would tell them is like, look how powerful you are. Like you created this much tension and pain in your life. Just think if the pendulum swung all the way to the other side, how much bliss and joy and ease you could have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so anything that's going on in our life, if we think it sucks, it's like, well, just feel the energy of that. And you could do exact opposite if you just,
Yeah.
it sounds so easy.
It's a mind-blowing idea to admit that that we live in a perfectly equal polarity in the universe. So whatever we experience on the downside, there is an equal event on the upside that we can experience.
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely real. So sometimes in dark times when I'll experience, disappointment or letdown or depression or frustration or whatever, I'll try to remember that, okay, this is a good sign. Actually, I live in a perfectly balanced polar universe. This sucks now, but that means that on the other side, I can experience this. And just refusing to attach a definition to those experiences that's related to me. Like, because I'm experiencing that doesn't mean that I'm a bad guy or that I'm unworthy or any of those things. It just is a part of this tapestry of emotion that I get to experience. And thankfully, this one works. So let's work on the other side too.
Yeah, I love that. The meaning, that's another thing I love to talk about is like, we put so much meaning on anything and everything. If someone looks at us a certain way, if things don't happen, right? When we let go of that, which is what I just heard you say, like, then we're open to all sorts of possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have about, 15 minutes, maybe about 20 minutes left here. Do you want to invite someone in for questions? Do you want to go a little bit further of, what's in your book? What would you like to do?
As your co-host, I'll follow you on this one. If you'd like to have somebody come in, we can do that. I will give a little plug though to my program.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll kind of just, I've got my deal right here. Give me a second.
Okay.
So actually that's the wrong app. If you go to rulesofsuccess.com, you can get a free copy of my book, The Science of Getting Rich, presented by Rules of Success. And like I said, it's the expanded version of that older book that's been around since 1910. And I'll give you kind of a deal here. It comes in 3 different formats. It comes in the .epub format, which is for iOS devices, Apple stuff. And so I don't know if you can see it or not, but this is the version here on the iPad. I've got one that you can do for Kindle, and then there's a PDF. And my comments are in italics, and the original author's comments are they're in the standard font, so you can tell the difference. Out of honor to the original author, I didn't want to change anything. I just was adding some relevant commentary that makes it easier. But what I've done to kind of help out, I've got this interesting thing that's happened in my life. When I've applied those principles deliberately as they're outlined in the book, I've achieved massive success in a very short period of time. I mean, people ask what that means. I told you about a little bit about the money I made. That parlayed into 6 months later. I lived in an 11,000 square foot house. I had $500,000 worth of cars in my garage. I had all sorts of toys and things that were happening financially that were a part of it. And then as I let that go several years later, the crash comes just as quickly as the rise. And so I feel like somewhat like a Sherpa, that I've been up the mountain myself and I've been back down it, and I know exactly what to do to avoid the pitfalls of the fall. And so the book, or the program, Apply the Science, is a walkthrough of those principles within that safe haven of a community, providing resources to help you to really drill down to what you want, what your clarity is, what your exact desires really are. Most people don't even know.
Yeah.
And then from there to establish that perfect balance between keeping your thoughts in line with the action necessary to achieve it. So at applythescience.com, or as you put up there, rulesofsuccess.com/applythescience. I've got a little blip there, video there. There's an application where you can fill out some of your thoughts about it, and that application comes in, and we can arrange a conversation to see if you'd be a fit for the program. There's only a couple spots that are left. I'm doing it on December 1st is the first version of this, and I'm pretty excited about it because I know how powerful the community and the accountability and those principles are.
It's
so
huge.
if you're an entrepreneur, if you're one of those people that have been doing okay, but you want to really fast track those results and collapse that time, let's do it.
And is that a 6 week, 6 month, year? Like what? Yeah.
It's an 8-week course.
Okay.
And just to throw it in there, I'm open as well to not too much. I've only got select clients, but we can do one-on-one coaching as well as a part of that to kind of lead up to it. So
awesome.
It's really an important. I'm really passionate about it just because I've seen results come so quickly and I've seen them go away when I abandon it, and it's the perfect litmus test to know that it works. So.
Absolutely. And so, who is your ideal client? You know, when we speak about that, so entrepreneurs.
Sure. My ideal client would be entrepreneurs, and more specifically, people that have a business to which they legitimately control how well they do or how well they don't. So I've seen more times than I can count when people aren't succeeding at the level that they want in whatever the avenue, health, fitness, body, whatever, money, obviously. There are immediate tweaks that can be done that can bring in those resources in any one of those areas almost immediately. So I want somebody that's got that type of control. A good client is not, somebody that punches a clock and that's kind of in that corporate world. Unfortunately, those principles apply and they help those people for sure. But it's going to be a longer burn to get you to the position where you have a position to make it work the way that the book it empowers you to. And so, entrepreneurs that have their own businesses that are in that space. And more importantly, above all that, is you've got to be willing to invest in yourself and to believe in the process and do the work.
That's great. I love, it would be a longer burn. I love that phrase, especially, working out. Like I feel that when you say that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, it's true. It's kind of funny. There's a lot of applications to that phrase, but it's slower and more deliberate and more arduous even, but it's still 100% possible. So
absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And please check out Bryce in every avenue, his Twitter, go to his website, definitely listen to his podcasts. And now let's open it up. Anybody on here, would you like to hop into the love seat and ask Bryce or myself some questions, share what's going on in your life? You could also promote your business right now, a 30-second snippet. If you would like. I know someone, Wake Up Better, I think, asked to come on. So if you want to do that now, the seat is open. Just going to take a sip of water. All right, here we go. Hello.
Hey, what's going on? I'm actually at Starbucks, so excuse me if it gets loud.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you for having me. And Bryce, you're amazing.
Thanks, man. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I actually caught your podcast once. I was on the plane and one of my buddies had told me to listen to it. And then the internet cut off on the plane, so I got cut off short.
Well, I appreciate the follow, man. That's great. We've got some good stuff coming down the pipe, so keep tuning in. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
So who are you and what do you do? Let us know a little bit about you.
Well, my real name is Aaron Goins. Wake Up Better, what I actually came to tell you, it actually means the law of attraction. I didn't want to be common and just say, oh, I'm the law of attraction or I believe in it. So I found another way to really try to get that message out there. And it came to me from 2009. I was paralyzed from the neck down. And when I found out about how the law of attraction works, I applied it and really pretty much willed myself back to having everything I have now. Like, by no means was I born with a silver spoon or anything like that. I mean, I literally grew up on free lunch and food stamps. So applying the law of attraction really saved my family business. Took it from like 12,000 monthly, like 60 over a 3-year time span.
Wow.
That's great, man.
What is your business?
Well, we recently sold it, but it was landscaping and cleaning. And then I I had this great story from being a top 10 athlete, being paralyzed, to going completely left and starting, and not starting, but and owning my own business at a young age, losing money, like a lot of money, and getting it back just by applying these simple steps and really understanding the science of getting rich and how to literally get over the hump and every day see things in a different light. That's why it's Wake Up Better. Like every day, what happened tomorrow, even if it's good or bad, really doesn't matter. It's a new day. And really constantly training myself to think in that mindset.
That's so great, man. Well, I applaud you for what you've been able to accomplish and your willingness to recognize that what goes on between your ears is so powerful, because it sounds like, I mean, it's the key for what you were able to do. And it's really inspiring to hear your story and to know that that's where you've been able to take that, what you could look at your being paralyzed as a massive downer and a big challenge. But as I've, watched your face and listened to your words, I don't see that from you. I see that it's something you just looked at. It was a step, and it was something now that you got to deal with, and you're still going to kill it no matter what. So good job, man. I appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
But now I'm actually I want to start an online school for entrepreneurs. That's my big mission. Like I changed my whole focus into like motivating, inspiring, and educating. So right now, I let go. Like I had an app, I have a restaurant, and I put everything on the back burner because my passion is calling. So I have to answer it.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, much success to you. And if you want, do you have any information? Sorry, it's a little loud in the background. If there's any information that you have, if you have a website or anything, please post it in the comments. And if not, that's okay. We'll just follow you on here and on Twitter to keep up, because you have an amazing story and a great presence. And, I'd love to see what happens, with you and who you motivate in the future.
Yeah, I don't have a website. I tried to do the website thing, and then I found the guy who wanted to do it. And he was charging me all this money, and it didn't even come out how I like this. I said, I just stay away from it. But I know I should get on it.
That's all right. You don't need, you are your brand, getting out there and, connecting in Facebook groups, connecting on here. A website obviously is really helpful. It will help grow your list. But at the divine right timing, right?
I mean, to tell you the truth, I think I kind of did good without it. I mean, besides like my cleaning business, yeah, they had a website, but I still got the chance to be mentored by like real 1%ers, and I still get called by big businesses to speak. Like just 2 months ago, I was at Bristol Myers Squibb. They're who make our medicine. One of the companies, yeah. So I got the chance to speak at their company. And
wow,
that's great.
It's without a website, so it's just like, okay.
Congratulations.
I'd like to. Are you on Facebook at all?
Yes, I'm on Facebook.
Okay, I'd like to invite you to come to. I've got a closed group on there called Rules of Success. If you just go to search for groups, that's all it's called, is Rules of Success. And I'd love you to be a part of it. It's a community there where we talk about a lot of the things that I share on my podcast. I give first looks there, and it's a safe haven for success principles and law of attraction type stuff. And you seem just like the right type of guy to contribute and to be a part of that there. I think that it would be a good fit. Thank
you. I would love to. Always looking to connect, and I love talking about the law of attraction. It makes me happy.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do it.
I could feel that.
Yeah.
And it's called Rules to Success.
Rules of Success. It's just like the name of my show. But it's all it's called. So it's a private group. So, and you can, my name is Bryce Prescott. Find me on there too, and I'll friend you, and we can connect even further.
All right.
I've got all these links at my Twitter. Being that you're on Blab, if you go to my Twitter, there's everything you need to find there as well.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Do you have any questions for Bryce?
So Bryce, have you ever mentored anyone? Especially mentor anyone in my age group, because I'm only 24.
Yeah, actually, the client that I talked to about just recently, he's 26. He's 26. He's young hustler, comes from a real challenging situation with his family. He's raised by his grandma and his mom, and he's had some racial challenges that have been things he's had to overcome, and he's just a young little hustler, man. And I just am really grateful for that. So yeah, you're right. You're right in there, man. That's a perfect age. The things you're doing right now in your 20s are going to set the stage for the success you'll experience throughout the rest of your entire life. So, yeah, dude, I'd love to look into that further and see if we can make it fit.
I ran into a challenge, and hopefully you can help me. And I know it's loud. They're actually making a coffee right now. But I ran into a challenge because of my age. A lot of people think I have nothing to offer.
Okay.
But and not trying to sound cocky, people don't really understand the fact that I probably could hire their whole family. And when I say that, they always shy away from me. But I'm just being honest. So how could I get that message across that I have a lot of value to offer someone, and the age doesn't really matter because I have some of the results that people would dream of.
Sure. Well, I guess my take on that is not everybody is going to be your client, and that's okay. And even people like Carla and myself, we get told no on a regular basis, and it doesn't mean anything. It just means that they're not the right fit. And truthfully, that's a blessing for you. So your opportunity is to involve yourself in the right scenarios where that's not an issue, where age is nothing but a number. I mean, I've met some old people that are dumb as hell, and I've met some really sharp young guys. And so it has to do with you and your commitment and your understanding to things that are bigger than yourself. Because here's the thing. Nobody knows everything, even if they try to act like they do. What's more important and powerful is a willingness to act in spite of fear and challenge. Mm-hmm. And no matter the age, I mean, whatever your ideal client would be, they are going to respect that you move, that you're a hustler, that you get out there, and you would never ask them to do anything that you aren't doing and wouldn't do yourself. And by putting yourself in those right situations, it's going to make it so that you're going to separate the field. You're not going to have to worry about the riffraff over there that aren't going to listen anyway. The haters, whatever you want to call them, it's irrelevant. So you just get to focus on understanding who your target audience is, who you're really going for, and then drill down into that. And you'll find that by asking the right questions, presenting the right opportunities, and by creating this kind of narrow funnel, if you will, you can get to the point to where you'll have clients that the only question you have to ask them is, when do we start? And that's it.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Carla? Is that?
Yeah. Just keep being you. Like, you already have the mindset, like, you are so young and you have already accomplished so much. Just keep doing what you're doing. And exactly, I echo what Bryce said is, the ones that say no, it's like, thank you. You think I'm too young. Okay, great. That's a no. And then keep going until you get that yes. And it has to be a yes on both parties.
Yeah.
For the brilliance to really happen.
There's a reason why when you get into certain self-development books where they talk about firing your clients, because you get to a point to where it doesn't work anymore to associate with people that, even in a mentor or client business relationship, their money isn't worth the trouble.
That's right.
So understanding that and being okay to embrace that, you'll actually make room both emotionally, spiritually, psychologically for the type of clients that you want, and your life will be the better for it.
The one thing that I will add is, if someone says something to you or about you and it triggers you, that's a perfect opportunity to dig within, because the reason it's triggering you is there's a belief running subconsciously that it's the same belief, or it's someone else may have said the same thing and you're questioning, is this true? So it's all a gift, because if you're getting triggered, it means you have some self-work to do.
Yeah.
Like I was doing some reading, and I read a quote, well, two quotes. I read a quote that said, when the student is ready, the teacher would appear. That sounded like what you were saying, Carla. Then I read another book, and it said, teach the masses, mentor the few. And that sounds like what you were saying, Bryce, with the funnel. So it's just like right now, it's just the confirmation of it all.
Sure. Yeah.
Indeed.
The student was ready, it sounds like.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not that it triggers it, but it's just like, come on. It's just that I get that feeling like, really, I can't do nothing. But okay.
Well, but is there a way that you can just honor where they are, right? Like just accept like they're not ready for you, and keep going.
The politically correct answer would be yes, but we all know you don't want to accept that someone isn't in the same space. Not even financially, just mentally. It doesn't cost anything to read a book or really be a part of this microwave era where we just get everything online and read it on an ebook or a PDF. So that's the part where it's just like the personal me, well, the real me, the Aaron, not Mr. Wake Up Better. Aaron can't accept that people just aren't getting these free information. I mean, every book pretty much that someone buys, it's on YouTube. And you can just pull it up. So I can't even say I'm having. I find that as a problem that people don't take advantage of. And that's what gets me frustrated when they say, oh, you're 24. Just because you made money doesn't mean you can mentor. I'm just like, well, it sounds like you have trouble in humbling yourself, but thank you. Now get out of my office.
Well, that's a very mature way to look at it, and you'll continue to evolve in that idea, and there'll come a point where you'll start to understand that it's not even worth the thought to have to go through that process in your mind for them. You know, you'll realize that you'll remove a positive, negative connotation to that in your experience of those people, and you'll realize that it's about you, Aaron. It's about you and your growth and your expansion. Now, there's going to come people into your life that are going to trigger you. They're going to piss you off, and they're going to do different things that are going to like excite these emotions. And there's something to be learned from that experience. But like Carla said, and I'll expand upon it, it's not about those people. That's about you. So how you react or experience somebody in any given situation is more about you than it is about them. So and I think that you're smart enough to know that on underneath it all, that it has nothing, how somebody feels about you has nothing to do with them, or has nothing to do with you, it has to do with them. We each have our own ideas and our own prejudices and different things that we carry with us. And it has nothing to do with the people we're looking at. It has to do with how we're looking at the world. So we flip that on ourselves. That means that your success is 100% on you. And by utilizing the science of getting rich, the law of attraction, being willing to recognize certain specific things that you 100% control, the universe starts to shift and make space. And all of a sudden there's room for you to experience the life you really want. And it happens.
Yeah.
It takes some growth.
I understand completely what you're saying, because I know I'm a red. I'm like the bloodiest red you could possibly find. So when someone tells me no, I'm like, I gotta jump down your neck. I get that. I get that. It makes so much sense. This is truly confirmation right
now. I love it. Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but thank you for having me on. And I get back in the peanut gallery.
Thank you. Thanks for blessing us.
Nice to meet you, Aaron.
You too. We'll be connecting.
Sure. Perfect. Very cool, man. That was awesome.
Yeah. See, isn't Blab fun?
This is great. I'm digging the interaction here. My podcast is fun, and I just do audio, and it's a one-on-one interview, and it allows for a certain level of candidness that you can't get from Blab, but at the same time, it lacks some of the spontaneity by bringing. I mean, who would have thought that we would be able to connect with, listen to his journey, and apply our own kind of take on how it matters to us, and just have a really good conversation. So, thanks for showing up, Aaron. That was great.
Yeah, Aaron, thank you. And that's the thing, with Blab is, there's lots of Blabs that are happening, and there's some really wacky, low energy Blabs, but, people are coming in that matches us. And I don't know, it's just like a big love fest for me. I love this platform.
Me too. That's good. I have to do more of these, actually.
Absolutely. So we're coming, we're on the hour. And so I'm feeling like it's a good time to wind things down. Would you like to share any last bits of wisdom, or maybe some homework? I know we both are sort of, coaches and mentors, and, I love to give people. Yeah.
Can I let this dude do it? David Anderson that's here. He says he wants to say something about my book.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't.
You want to take the last word, Dave?
It's given us a chance to pause.
Reflect. There he is.
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Welcome, David. Before you would like to, before you share whatever you'd like to share, please tell us who you are, brief, 30-second tidbit.
Yeah, I'm David Anderson, founder of Nitro Sales Team. I'm calling you from Denver, Colorado right now. I'm working in called Urban Media. It's the creative home for Denver. We're a media company out here. I've actually known Bryce for 2 months now. Yeah. I was on his cast, and ever since then, it's like a man in heaven. We've been collabing, been working there, and I can attest to him. Bryce is an awesome guy. If anyone had a chance to read that Science of Getting Rich book, he kept pushing me to read it. He's like, when are you going to read it? When are you going to read it? And it was a Friday night. And instead of going out, hanging out, having fun, I was actually in Colombia at the time. I just got back from a 2-month trip in South America. And I read that book on a Friday night, and I did not put it down. I went through like half the book that night, and then I finished it by the weekend. And it was an awesome just mindset shift. The commentary Bryce puts on there, it's awesome. Carla, this is really cool what you're doing here. Blab, I've never been on anything like this, so props to you on that.
Oh, thank you. It's great to have you on here.
Thanks for your kind words, David. That was nice of you.
Of course.
So what was your, 1 or 2 big takeaways from the book?
The basically how, it does refer to God, or you don't have to get religious. You can refer to the universe or whatever your belief is, but saying that he wants you to succeed. It's your obligation to be rich, to help others, because if you create wealth in the right way, which is right, there's 2 ways. There's the competitive way, or there's the way to create value. And if you could create that value and get rich through it, you're actually building wealth for other people. So I like that concept that we're doing here at Urban Media. Actually, I'll turn the screen right now. I'm actually working with the team. We got the sales team going. If everyone wants to say hi, there's Gia, Daniel, Carlos. What's up? You're live right now. This is a test. Just a year ago, this 2,000 square foot Urban Media office, we're all here. There's Fall right there making some killer videos. Just a year, Celia. She's a web developer, an awesome developer. And just a year ago, we didn't have any of this. Like literally any of this. Just people's dreams, people collaborating, master together, and making this all come true. And now we have this awesome office here. We're making sales calls. We're doing 12-hour days. We're making dreams come true here. So it's just, just having that mindset, like Bryce says, and teaming up with people. You make it happen. You make it real.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, David. And I just want you to know the internet connection is a little bit slow where you are. And so we actually don't have your video right now. At least I don't. I just have your photo. Bryce, what do you see?
Oh,
yeah, I just have his photo as well.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
So the thing, which is great. We had your video at the beginning. With Blab, you have to have a really strong internet connection because it is at least how it's set up right now for the stream. But thank you. There you are. Now you're back.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you could see him. Wake Up Better saw him. Interesting. Okay. Well,
some
anything
people saw
else?
me, some people didn't.
Live technology.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else that you would like to say about your experience with Bryce?
All I can say is just read the book for yourself. Hit him up. Just reach out to him. The proof is in the pudding. Just talk to him.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
And there he goes.
There he is.
All right. Well, that was a pretty good wrap. You have, you have fans. The two people who hopped on here, right? One listened to your podcast, one's read your book. Yeah. That's pretty, considering, there's only 6 people watching us live. That's a great percentage, I would say, for being on Blab.
It's kind of humbling, actually. I'm grateful for it. It's nice.
Yeah. You're in your brilliance. You're touching lives. You're changing lives. So again, it was an honor to to have you on here, and this being your first blab is a doubly honor.
Yeah, you did it. You were the first one.
Excellent. So please follow Bryce and all, Twitter, Facebook, blab, podcasting. Hopefully you'll do some blabs of your own.
Yeah, I'll do that. I got to figure out some more of the parts of this, but I'm intrigued for sure. It's a whole different dynamic. It has more of a radio show feel than, a podcast really, which is more interactive. It's kind of on the fly. I like it a lot. So thank you for setting the example, Carl. I've heard about this, but I've never been a part of it. I tried my hand at Periscope for a little bit and I kind of got bored with it.
Yeah.
And, this is not even close to boring. This is good.
Great. Yeah. I hopped on Periscope to tell people we were doing this to kind of drive people here, which is what Periscope is, I think, good for. And I think Blab, it's like a cross between like a talk show, like Ellen or whatever, and a cocktail party where you could, have wine or kombucha and have heart to hearts and engage. So
we should have done it later. Then we could have brought in the fun stuff.
Yeah. We'll do a PM one. That's a whole, absolutely.
There we go. That'd be great.
Night times conversations with Carla. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a watch what happens live type of experience.
Exactly. Off the record.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and just pause this recording